I'm back with our next class. In today's class, we are going to discuss another population interaction which is very important, that is competition. So first of all, you should know competition is what kind of an interaction. Here both the species which are interacting will be negative, or rather will be harming each other. They will be negatively impacted. Okay, so competition is a minus type of a relation, or minus type of a interaction. Okay, so let us start. First of all, see, competition refers to the interaction of two organisms striving for the same resource. Of course, competition will only occur between two organisms only when they are going after the same resource. When they have the similar needs, only then they would compete for that resource, isn't it? Now, the competition can be seen in two levels, that is intraspecific and interspecific. Intraspecific means in between the members of the same species, and interspecific means in between two different species. Of course, intraspecific competition is going to be much more acute or much more serious in nature, because then two members of the same species will have exactly the same requirement. That's why they would both be going after the same type of resource in a much more acute manner, leading to more of a competition, right? Now, when Darwin spoke of survival of the fittest in nature, he suggested that interspecific competition is a potent force in organic evolution. Now, that's a very important statement. Do remember that interspecific competition is going to be a very important force, driving force in organic evolution. Okay. Now, next, very important part. See, competition can always take two forms in nature. One is competition exclusion, that was discussed by Gauss, and another is competition coexistence. Competition exclusion by Gauss suggests that when two organisms are going to compete for the same resource, the one which has more capacity to intake the resource, okay, which has more capacity to exploit the resource, that one will survive, and the other one which is weaker in exploiting the resource will be eventually getting extinct. Okay, so two organisms which are going after the same resource, which are competing for the same resource, one has to be weaker than the other. Both cannot be equally potent, right? So the weaker one will become extinct. That's what is called competition exclusion. Fine. On the other hand, competition coexistence means when two species competing for the same resource, but then they will try to change certain kind of habits in them, due to which both of them will be able to remain in harmony in their habitat, or both of them will be able to coexist. Neither of them will be extinct or will be excluded by each other. Rather, both of them will be able to exist in the same habitat. Okay, that's what it means. Now, there are important examples from both the categories. So, let us discuss them. First, see, as per the definition, competition exclusion means it states that two closely related species competing for the same resource cannot coexist indefinitely, and competitively inferior one will be eventually eliminated. Okay. Now, important examples of competition exclusion are, number one, Gauss's original experiment. That means how Gauss had formulated competition exclusion, how he had suggested that competition exclusion exists in nature. That is by an experiment. So he experimented with closely related protozoans or ciliates. Okay, that is Paramecium caudatum and Paramecium aurelia. Two different species of Paramecium he worked with, and by this experiment itself he had suggested about competition exclusion. That's why this experiment is so very important. Okay, so see, in this experiment using Paramecium caudatum and aurelia, he first tried to grow Paramecium caudatum and aurelia in separate culture media, and saw that they would grow typically like any other bacteria or any other microbe, and will provide a sigmoid shaped growth curve. Okay, but eventually when he placed Paramecium caudatum and Paramecium aurelia in the same culture media. That means allowed them to compete for the same resource, that is food and space. At that time what was seen is that, see, when both protozoans were placed in the same culture media, Paramecium aurelia alone survived. After 16 days, it had more rapid growth rate. So Paramecium aurelia had much more rapid growth rate. So that's why within 16 days, Paramecium caudatum was completely excluded from the culture media. By this, he suggested the competition exclusion by Gauss. Okay, he suggested competition exclusion itself by this particular experiment. Understood? Now, next. Introduction of goats resulted in the exclusion of Abingdon tortoise from Galapagos Islands, as goats are better browsers. So goats can feed upon the resources or feed upon the leaves or plants much more at a higher rate in comparison to Abingdon tortoise in the Galapagos Islands. That's why eventually it was seen that goats would replace the Abingdon tortoises, and they would eventually get extinct. The Abingdon tortoise, because it has slow rate of feeding, it would eventually get extinct from the habitat. Okay, next. On the rocky coast of Scotland, the larger and competitively superior barnacles, Balanus, dominates the intertidal areas and excludes the smaller barnacles, that is Cathomelus, from that zone. Again, the larger one, which has much more growing rate, much more capacity to feed upon the resource, would be again excluding the smaller one, which has slower growing rate. Understood? So barnacles will be excluding the Cathomelus from the intertidal zone of Scotland. Okay, so all these important examples are from competition exclusion. Now let us see what is competition coexistence. Okay, see, species facing competition might evolve mechanisms that promotes coexistence rather than exclusion. Alright, and by how will they do so? How will they try to exist even after they are going after the same resource? How would they coexist? That is done by resource partitioning. That means they will be partitioning the resource among themselves, and also resource sharing by choosing different types for foraging pattern. So that means even if they have the same type of food or same type of resource they want to exploit, they can simply change certain behavior in them. Say one is going in hunting, or one is going in search of the food in the daytime, another is going at night. So in that case, the same resource, even if they are going after, they are not disturbing each other. Okay, they are simply changing their foraging pattern, and that's how both the species, even after being competitors, can coexist. Okay, nowadays mostly in ecology, competition coexistence is what is accepted rather than competition exclusion. All right. So now we have two important examples under competition coexistence as well. Like number one, 5 closely related species of warblers avoid competition by changing foraging pattern, that is MacArthur. And then Darwin found that 14 species of finches coexist in Galapagos Islands due to the development of different feeding habits. It's kind of the same thing that has been explained in both the examples. That means even if the species which are competing with each other, they're very similar and they have the same type of demand, they can simply change their feeding habit, or they can simply change their foraging pattern. That's how they would not come across each other for or disturb each other, and that's how they can easily coexist in the same habitat. Understood this? Now from the above discussion, one thing is very clear, that see, competition occurs between related species or in the same species, members of the same species. That is true, but competition is also going to be very much visible among unrelated species as well, which are not very similar to one another. Between unrelated species also competition exists. Like for example, in South American lakes, the visiting flamingos and the resident fish, They are very much unrelated from one another, but then they go after the same resource, that is the zooplanktons, in which both of them feed upon. Alright, so between very unrelated species as well, competition can very much exist in nature. Now let us learn about a few evidences that will help you understand or view how competition exists in our nature. Okay, like the first one is competition release. Okay, what is competition release? See, there occurs a dramatical increase in the population of a less distributed species in a geographical area when its superior competitor is removed experimentally from that area. Now, suppose in your habitat you find that the species, there are two species, say species A and species B. Species A is very less distributed, it is very less in number, and species B is in huge number. Okay, so of course species B dominates, right? Dominates that area. Now experimentally and artificially, if I can remove species B from that locality, I will see that eventually within a very short period of time, species A's number would suddenly start to become very high. Suddenly, very rapidly, species A will be able to grow. Okay, so this is known as competition release. That means in the absence of the superior competitor, the inferior ones, rapid, like rate of increase would become very fast. Okay, in the absence of the superior competitor, the weaker ones now, ability to grow, or its growth would suddenly become very rapid. That is called competition release. Understood that? Next, another way how you can find that competition actually occurs in nature, and that is competition interference. See, sometimes we believe that competition between two organisms occurs because of limited resources, isn't it? Resources being so limited, they have to compete. But actually it is not so. If you remember about carrying capacity, anyways the nature or our habitat will not allow a particular species to grow beyond a particular number. Beyond the carrying capacity, anyways any species cannot grow. And if we are keeping the number of species or number of members in a species under carrying capacity, so in that case, for those members, for that many members at least, resource is not a problem. Food and space are going to be unlimited, or food and space are going to be available in ample quantity, isn't it? But resource, if not the factor, if the resource being limited is not the factor, then why are they competing at the first place? They are competing because of competition interference. See, resource need not be limiting for competition to occur, as feeding efficiency of one species might be reduced due to inhibitory presence of the other species. So if two species are present, say in my previous example, I was talking about species A and B. So species B was the dominant one, and when I experimentally removed species B from the surrounding, species A suddenly started to grow very rapidly, isn't it? That was competition release. Now suppose I bring back the species B again to the locality. Suddenly I will see that now the amount of food is still the same in the locality, isn't it? But species A's resource utilizing capacity will suddenly become down. Okay, as if it's like a inhibitory effect that has been brought about by the presence of species B, due to which species A anyways won't be able to grow any further rapidly, and it will again get back to its own position. Understood? That's called competition interference. So competition release means what? In the absence of the superior competitor, weaker competitors, growth would suddenly become very high. That's what is competition release. And what is competition interference? That in the presence of a superior competitor, the other competitors, resource utilizing capacity itself will automatically become lower. Even if resource is available, it won't be able to exploit it. And that's how its number or its position in the habitat would remain limited, or it would remain stable. Understood that? So these two are going to, would help you to understand, or it will provide you the evidence for the occurrence of competition in nature. Okay, so that's all regarding competition, and that's all regarding today's class as well. In the next class, we'll start with parasitism.